Hi there. Today I just wanted to talk about my experience with the passport office. I had to get my passport reissued because it was expiring in the next 6 months and I wanted to get it done. So I registered at the passport Seva Kendras they have now. So I chose the one in Hyderabad at Amirpet. So I want to talk to you about the experience so that you don't face any of the problems that I faced. I didn't face many problems, but still. So my passport was being reissued. This is not the same as getting a fresh passport issued, which has different procedures. A reissued passport with no changes in particulars. For example, if the address on your present passport is the same as the address in the old passport, then you do not have to submit any other documents for the address. You just have to take the passport, the first two pages and the last two pages, xerox of those first and last two pages, and self-attest them and hand them over. I think they don't even take the documents actually. They just scan the documents and give the documents back to you. So that's how the process works. And the question I had was regarding non-ECR status. Non-ECR status was something that was already there in my previous passport. So ECR is immigration clearance required, and Government of India has listed certain countries where people cannot go and work unless they get a immigration clearance or they have a non-ECR status. It was previously known as ECNR, immigration clearance not required, or ECR. Now it says non-ECR or ECR. That's it. So the concept here is the government didn't want people to be basically trafficked or illegally taken to some countries, especially young children, maybe under the age of 25, 30. So they preferred that if you had, not they prefer, they have a rule that you should at least have an education of 10th or above, or if you're the child of a government servant or something like that, there are some 10 different documents you can produce. So at this point of time, I didn't have my certificate of 10th. I had given it in a college which I discontinued, and then I didn't get those documents back. And since I'm in business, basically, I don't really care for those documents so much. And I'm gonna go and get them, but I didn't to rush it. So the first at the form counter, he said 10th is required, and basically it doesn't really matter what he says. He doesn't know anything. And I took the token. I went inside. I gave him the documents, and the person at the counter A. So there are three sections: A, B, and C. A is the basic checking. B is verifying those documents with the originals, and C is the final approval by the authorities. So first is the section A is basically run by TCS. The whole area PSK, the Passport Seva Kendra, is run by TCS, and the first section, which is A, is run by all TCS employees or some private employees. They're not government people. Section B, I think there are government people, maybe at clerical level or something like that. And that is where the person that I saw, he was saying that your 10th is mandatory, you need that. And I said, and luckily, I had taken the printouts of all the documents required. So what I did was I went to the website, I looked at the documents required, and there's a particular wizard which allows you to choose your particular case. So it's a fresh passport, a reissue of a passport, this. They're like different things. Whatever your case is, you can just choose the appropriate options, and then it will give you a list of documents which you need to show. So for passport reissue, there was basically no document because everything was same unless you change something like your date of birth by 1 day or something like that, or you have a change of address. There's no other proof for anything that's required. In my case, non-ECR status, that at counter number B or section B, he was saying that 10th is required, and I showed him that I brought these other documents in lieu of 10th. Instead of that, I got these, and in the previous passport, it already is a non-ECR status, so it doesn't really matter. So that was the case, and he was trying to send me away and ask me to come another time. But I said the rules are the rules, and so he was unable to say anything. And he said, "Go to counter, next counter," which is basically the final officials. They call them APOs. I don't know what that stands for, but I think they are officials. So if something like that happens, what you should usually say is, "I want that clarity in writing," because if that is mentioned as per the rules, then they have to accept there is no other way. So he went on to explain that you should have a business and you should prove that you have a business and all this. So I just asked him, so it is subject to acceptance or convincing of the passport officer. And he said yes. So he was not the passport officer. Section B does not consider is not the passport officer, so they cannot take the final decision. So I finally went to pass the last section, and this person, he was just looked at my passport. He said, no, no, nothing is required. Passport is enough. He didn't even check the other documents, and he just approved my passport, and I got through. That's it. So I gave the token back at the exit counter, and they ask you to fill out a feedback form. They don't even say it's feedback, but remember to fill this out, and I got through. And before less than an hour passed, I got a message, and they are charging like 45 rupees for SMS charges, which is a total rip-off. But I got an SMS saying that your passport has been approved and your passport is also being sent for printing. So I should receive that passport in a couple of days because it's a reissue. If it's a fresh passport, it's a different story. They were also selling these passport covers, which they'll ask you to buy one if you want. It's optional, but if you want, you can buy one. And I thought, okay, there are three options: 330 rupees, some 400 change, and some 510 rupees. And I chose the 510 one. Not that I have more money, just thought that okay, it's like you're not going to get your passport renewed every single day or year or something. It's like a one-time thing and it will last for 10, 15 years. It doesn't really matter if you do that. So that's what I thought, and I went ahead for that. So I opted for a 60 pages passport because I don't want to come again if there's anything else that any other stamps that I need to get done. So I don't want to come again for another passport appointment and then waste my time with this kind of government stuff. All in all, I can just say that this is my third passport. So first I had a passport in 2003, which I got issued. It was a horrible experience. I was a small kid. And next was in 2008. So first passport was valid for 5 years. Second passport was valid for 10 years. So 2008 to 2018. 2017 December is what it is now, and my passport is expiring in less than a year, so I got it renewed. So that's my story. I just wanted to make sure that somebody else who has this question about non-ECR is very clear about it, because that is something that I wasted a lot of my time on. I don't want you to waste any of your time on that. If you have any such issue, you can just let it be. Just take the other documents. In my case, my father is a government officer, so I took his passport as a copy and also a letter from him saying he's a class 1 gazetted officer. They didn't check it, so I don't think it actually matters. And they said so and so, so and so. There are so many documents, and but the rule says that the officer's decision is final. So if the officer finds your application not worthy, or for some reason that you have not provided or shown all the right documents, then in that case he may reject your application and ask you to come with further documentation. In my case, none of that happened, but just so that you know, because this is the only document in the country which they actually do a strict verification. So yeah, I think it's and reasonable to say that you can allow them that leeway and give them that little bit of priority, little bit of decision making authority, I'd say. Hope that helps. Bye bye.